Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco, this is Roy Kessel with Sports Philanthropy Network, and we're very excited to have with us today Leila and John. Are going to talk to us about some of the great environmental work that's going on. I know you're both very passionate about that, working with the Amazon and some of the initiatives down there. So tell us what you're working on and what brought you here to Radio Row.
Well, thank you for having us. My name is Leila Salazar-Lopez. I am the executive director of Amazon Watch and also part of the Amazonia Calling campaign that is working to protect the Amazon rainforest and our climate in solidarity with indigenous peoples. And really, we're here to enroll and amplify the cause of the Amazon to athletes, to influencers, anybody who really cares about the heart of our earth, right? We need a healthy forest, we need a healthy planet so that we can all live healthy on this planet.
Well, I think one of the things people don't understand is this isn't just about the Amazon, right? The impact of the ecosystem in the Amazon stretches far, far beyond the geographic borders.
Exactly, exactly. Well, the Amazon rainforest, for those of you who don't know, is the world's largest tropical rainforest on our planet. And the indigenous people that we work with say it's the lungs, but it's also the heart because it creates our weather systems, not just in the Amazon, but all the way here in California. In the entire West Coast is actually our rainfall, our snowpack comes from the weather systems that come from the Amazon. And so when we see deforestation and degradation of the Amazon rainforest, that actually affects the weather patterns, not only in the Amazon, thousands of miles away, but also here in the west coast of the United States.
So that's hard for people to really get their arms around, right? It doesn't seem sort of logical, right? It doesn't, or easy to get your understanding of how something thousands and thousands of miles away changes what's going on here, right, in California. So talk about that work and what goes into identifying what the risk factors are for the Amazon.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of science about this and the role, as Layla was saying, that the Amazon plays in terms of the water cycle. And so, if you just look at water as the common denominator, that we all need water, we all need air to survive, and without the function that the Amazon provides for the water cycle, it's like a giant hydrological pump up into the atmosphere that, as she said, provides water and snowpack here in California, for example. Without that, we have droughts, we have incredibly, we've already seen the damaging fires and all of that. So part of our message here is about the connection between the health of our environment and the health of our athletes. And one just example is that in the sport of football or soccer, in Brazil, which of course the country is just mad for soccer, they've implemented in recent years mandatory hydration breaks because of the extreme heat. So it's actually affecting competitive play, what's going on. And the last few years in the Amazon, there have been droughts where the river has dried up completely in sections. So you're talking about if we lose the function of the Amazon, that will completely destabilize our global weather systems. That's a heavy thing to say, but it's scientifically real. And so we just want the sports world to get on board with, for us to all enjoy our lives, to enjoy the sports that we love. We need to keep the balance of the environment. We need to keep the Amazon standing. And that's our message here.
Well, and as we have our Sports Philanthropy World Conference, something we talk about because the international ecosystem, right, throughout both for sustainability purposes as well as just in commerce and competition and everything else, really uh, transverses the globe, right? We've had 87 countries reach out to be involved in our network and participate in events that we're doing. And so we recognize that the hydration breaks now have moved way beyond just Brazil. They're in pretty much all international competition when the weather gets above a certain temperature or heat index. So it's something that's really important for the whole world to stand. So how do we as individuals, right? Because people think we're too small. Like, what difference can I make to this system? So what can people do individually?
Well, one thing that another thing that you all should be aware of, and another connection to the Amazon is that, are the threats, right? It's the beauty and also the threats. The threats to the Amazon include oil extraction, mining extraction, logging, major agribusiness expansion. And what we're saying about that is that, we do not need to continue expanding the destruction of the Amazon, and particularly for oil. The majority of the oil that is drilled in the Amazon and exported comes to California. So if you live in California, one of the things that you could do is contact your senators about phasing out fossil fuels and making a commitment to phasing out fossil fuels from the Amazon in particular. And we're working on that at Amazon Watch and with Amazonia Calling on campaigns to ensure that the Amazon is free from further extraction. And I'll let you talk about the Amazonia Calling.
Oh, great. Well, part of our approach was we just need more storytellers telling this story. And we need to find the balance. When Leila talks about some of these threats, there are ways to have a thriving economy, but also a thriving ecology. And we need nature to be healthy. We need nature to do sport. So what we did is starting last year, actually, when we saw you, those were the seeds of a campaign that ended up being called Amazonia Calling. And we reached out and had a huge response from artists, musicians, actors, even some world champion athletes who got on board with this message to call for the permanent protection of the Amazon. We have now, I believe, over 300 of them, a lot of
Amazing.
recognizable names. So.
Well, that's amazing work, and would love to incorporate you into our Sports Philanthropy World Conference that we'll be hosting at the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy in Indianapolis this summer, August 3rd through 5th. Would love to talk about that because I think, as you said, this is the beginning. The storytelling, the dialogue, getting people on board and aware of that, that's something that's really important to us.
If I could just end with, if you are an athlete, we would invite you to join Amazonia Calling, to join us in this call to protect the Amazon rainforest, to protect our climate, to protect the lungs and the heart of the world. And you can join us at amazoniacalling.org to join the list of influencers and actors and artists to help protect the rainforest.
Amazing work here, and we look forward to supporting these efforts for the Amazonia Calling and all of the initiatives and the great work that's going on. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thanks so
From
much.
Radio Row, this is Roy Kessel signing off for Sports Philanthropy Network. Please remember to live generously.